intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Good Question, our Friday episode of 50% Facts, where we answer y'all's question. If you want to get involved, goodcompany.discord.com. You get early access to all our drops, a like-minded community, and also a chance to be featured on the show. So today, we have WarBoyWonder. And his question is thoughts on IIFYM, if it fits your macros, or sticking to proper healthy foods during a cut. This question to me feels like almost like a 6-year flashback. So when I began fitness in 2008-ish, doing all my own research, it was a very strict meal plan world. You're eating tilapia or chicken breast, broccoli or asparagus, and you're eating rice or potatoes. Morning is oatmeal and egg whites, and that's just the only way people talked about getting truly jacked. 2010, 2011, 2012, something started to rumble, and I think it actually was invented in the bodybuilding.com forums with some of our friends, Matt Ogus, Alberto Nunez, all these guys, and kind of the
Lane.
Yeah, Lane was definitely involved, talking about if it fits your macros. Basically, just calculating how you eat and not. Then, to make a point, that smaller group would do videos and content showing that they can eat, what would be considered unhealthy food, something like a Poptart. And a Poptart almost became the fucking flag for if it fits your macros for a bit.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it's like
it was on the diet.
No, for real. Because it was like the most processed thing you could think of, right?
Yeah.
It's not you don't even know what it is, right? It's some kind of flour, sugar concoction.
Okay, it's a very basic pastry.
Yes, it's like a cookie fake pastry.
Yeah.
And so it made sense. Or donuts were another one that became very popular. Basically showing that you could eat these things that were so highly processed and sugar and fat and known to be so bad for you, you could eat them and actually get shredded. And that's just, kind of basic science now. Then fast forward, another 5 years, 2016, 17, 18, and the world. I mean, I remember having CrossFitters who were very keto, very paleo at the time on our podcast, and I would try to describe macros. I would even try to describe them to other hosts we may have had in other podcasts, and they were just dumbfounded that just won't work. I'm like, no, you can have a cookie, and if we're in these bounds, we're probably going to be all right. But it's sugar. Sugar's so bad for you. Inflammation, all this stuff, right? Yeah, fast forward 2015, 16, 17, 18, and it seemed like the world kind of got a handle, okay, we get it. Then maybe 2017 to 2020, it seemed like the real balance started. Oh, okay. Because then it went overboard, as the pendulum always swings. Motherfuckers are eating cookies all day, and they're just chugging protein shakes and hitting their calories and getting jacked. Hypothetically, you can get jacked. But I just literally tweeted it that looking fit and being healthy aren't the same. And so, obviously, some kind of balance is there. And that's where if it fits your macros really works. And the most basic case is something like fitting ketchup or mayo into a meal, right? Old bodybuilding stuff. You can't have anything but mustard and salt and pepper. But allowing yourself to track a little bit of sugar in your ketchup to have with your meat probably is not going to crush you. And even beyond that, besides prep, if you're a pro bodybuilder, you could probably have a cookie on the weekends or a burrito from Chipotle. Matt Ogus made Chipotle very popular in that way, making it very trackable. Then, again, 2017 to 2021, 2022, even to now, I would say that people got a handle of that, and the world knows what if it fits your macros in. I'm actually surprised how many content creators talk about it. Every single one did, because back in the day, they didn't. They were literally lost on the topic. And I thought, and I still think, the gist is, the 80-20 law, people to bring into everything in life. But the 80-20 does work pretty good when you're talking about dieting. If we get 80% single ingredient-ish style foods, what's in a potato? Just fucking potato, right? What's in rice? Just rice. What's in chicken? Just chicken. What's in broccoli, right? We get whole foods for, 70, 80, 85, 90% of our meals, or what's going into our fat faces. And then the other, 10 to 20% getting stuff in, whether that be condiments like ketchup, barbecue sauce, whether that be a sugary coffee drink every once in a while, whether that be a full dessert at a birthday party or a piece of pizza or two. And I think the bigger topic at hand really is, and this is something I've said for a long time, is that as strict as your goals are, is as strict as your plan needs to be. So 80-20 for the majority of people that just want to feel pretty good, be healthy, and look pretty good is probably a great target. If you're trying to be Mr. Olympia, that might go down to 99-1, or 100-0. You can eat cookies as Mr. Olympia for sure, especially in your off season. But if you're really trying to tap into every single thing, the chances are that you track it accurately just start to go away when it's processed. That's kind of the main goal, right? Because we can guesstimate how much sugar and whatever's in this cookie that we're eating, but nothing's perfectly evenly distributed when you're mixing a shit ton of ingredients, where chicken breast is pretty evenly distributed with the macronutrients involved. So I don't even know what the actual question is. It was
it was thoughts on if it fits your macros, or versus, I think is the word that should be there.
Yeah.
Sticking to a proper healthy foods during a cut. So basically, do you cheat a little bit constantly as long as you're accounting for it in your macros, or do you just eat clean?
Yeah, because then the third one would be people ate so clean but didn't even track or know what's going on, and then have a full binger day.
Yeah.
They'd have a full cheat day, cheat meal, which I think mentally and physically probably is not the healthiest there. So let's eliminate that one. And I think Jim's right. Your question is like or, but it should be like and or.
And or, yeah. And it really comes down, from my perspective, to what works for you. Like if sticking to your diet means that every once in a while you're having, or even every day or whatever, something that you think of as a treat that you're accounting for.
Yep.
Then rock on. If that works for you. If it doesn't work for you because it causes you to go into a crave spiral about a particular thing, like you need a whole sleeve of Oreos and not an Oreo, or
guilty,
things like that. If it's gonna take you in that road, it's gonna take you off the path that you want to be on in terms of your diet, then don't do that.
Yep.
Unless you need it to make your life normal every once in a while because you're at a party or whatever, and you need to have a piece of the birthday cake. You can have the small one, and you can just sort of guesstimate because I think that looking at if it fits your macros these days, the smarter move might be if it fits your calories, which is kind of a throwback, as long as you're hitting your protein.
Yeah, a lot of studies have agreed with that. I think it's, again, depending on your goals, but if let's say we're not competitive athletes here or pro athletes, our life doesn't depend on it, carbs and fat are pretty much replaceable with each other. Yeah. So if you're hitting your calories, you're hitting your protein, you can definitely feed yourself towards whatever goal it is. And you can get really fucking jacked that way and really fucking lean that way. Yeah. If you're a marathon runner, if you're a pro MMA fighter, NBA, something like that, we probably want to dial in our carbs and fat. But again, that's 0.0001% of the world is dependent on their performances to live. So I agree 100% with Jim. I think there are trigger foods that, because that was another trend. Like if it fits your macros came about, and then people are saying fit this stuff in, and then the other world got so obsessed with the mental aspect of dieting and how you can't, if you have a single, I swear to God, I've read hundreds of Instagram posts and articles this way, that if a singular food, bite, or look of it triggers an emotion in you, then you got a ED. You got an eating disorder. And I'm just like, well, I'm human. Things bring emotion, and that if you can't have one bite of something and let it go, that you have an eating disorder. And I'm like, fuck, man. And I think we're all fucked. But I do, and then it flipped, and people have a little bit more average or moderate view on that. And I do believe in that as well, that I think at least you need to be aware of those feelings. And then even for me, I mean, there is stuff I just eliminate from my diet. They would say that if you had to eliminate something from your diet to find progress, that you have an eating disorder. And maybe I do. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But I can't have ice cream in my house. I can't have ice cream. I have one bite. I'm having the whole gallon. I go out for ice cream, and then I'm going to find ice cream somewhere. I'm going to make it, or something's going to be shaking my milk jug until it's ice cream. Like, I'm going to find a way to do that like a fucking addict. Because they wouldn't make these arguments with other addictions.
Right.
Like, which is just crazy. And I'm no addiction specialist by any means, but I've watched a lot of documentaries, and I am interested in that world. Where like a heroin addict, they always say you're an addict for the rest of your life. Yeah. Right? That's just like common protocol.
Yeah, same thing with alcoholism.
Right?
Yeah.
They didn't say you're cured. They didn't say you get over it. So why?
You're recovering.
So if I am a food addict, and let's say I have an ED, hypothetically, I've never been diagnosed, and I'm not a doctor here, but hypothetically, then why would I just have to get over it and be able to do one bite of ice cream?
Oh, yeah. That's a good question.
Right? Because he would never say, like, oh, Jim, you're an alcoholic. Let's teach you how to have one beer.
Yeah.
Like, no, they go sober.
Yeah.
Because there's something wrong with the human brain that doesn't work.
I think that if you are someone who goes through periods of time where you really can't control those kinds of cravings, and then periods of time where you can control those kinds of cravings, maybe you don't have an eating disorder, maybe you have an emotional like roller coaster going on.
For sure.
And
the end result should determine if you need help.
Correct.
Right? Are you unhealthy? Is your money, family, or physical health being harmed by these trends?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go find some help. All right?
Yeah.
And that's probably the same with substances. Right?
Yeah.
You can love fucking beer, and it's not affecting your money, your relationships, or your own health. Is it an issue? Maybe not. Right? And maybe it is. But long story short, I think it's okay to eliminate some foods for the majority of your life. Like, I do better with not eating ice cream because I'm going to eat a shit ton of it.
Yeah.
So I just don't eat ice cream but once every quarter.
Yeah, but that doesn't translate you to being keto and never eating sugar or seldom eating sugar or whatever, because I think that's
for sure.
That's got its own like problems.
Yep. And yeah, the basics of if it fits your macros for me right now, for an example of what we're talking about is majority of my day I'm eating some kind of vegetable and a meat. Chicken, beef, etc. And then right now I go through rotations. Me and Sebas were just talking about it off air. I go through rotations of like a dessert-y type dinner or the type of meat I'm eating. And right now I'm on a Greek yogurt kick. Don't love Greek yogurt, but I dump it with fruit and I put whipped cream on it. Like, is whipped cream healthy? Is it bodybuilding? Probably not. But like the shit in the can is fucking like 1 gram of sugar per serving.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot there. It's,
And
it's a lot of air.
And I'm probably putting a bunch in. I'm definitely not doing a serving, but
yeah, it's like Halo Top in a can.
Right. So I'm doing, berries, healthy, Greek yogurt, quote unquote healthy, and then whipped cream to make it palatable for me. But again, allows me to stay on my plan and my calories for the day. That's probably the good option.
Or you go with like Cool Whip.
Yeah, I taught you that, eh?
Yeah.
The boys never like. Maybe it's like a '90s thing or something, but we just always grew up like fruit and Cool Whip was just like an easy dessert that wasn't, again, not ice cream, not fucking cake. And even Bart, I don't think really had it. And we're on one of our trips to Texas, I think last year, and we were all going grocery shopping. I was like, oh, and I don't know why we were on a huge fruit kick.
Yeah,
everyone was just slamming fruit that trip, and I go through phases of that too. Like I didn't eat fruit like regularly. I'll eat an apple here and there, but like right now I'm eating shit tons of fruit every day. And we were doing that, and I was like, bro, just grab some of this Cool Whip. It's just life changing.
Like pineapples and cinnamon.
Yeah, banging. Yeah, just little stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a huge whatchamacallit to go. Tahini in that.
Yeah.
It's all right. I can do
Very
it.
salty.
Yeah, I can do it.
I like it.
I think that's it.
That's it.
So find some balance. Find a flow that works for you. Again, I'll say this everywhere, and it kind of taps into the last long episode we did, if you look. But if your diet, guide, nutrition, lifting has a name, they're selling you shit. And my nutrition and my lifting style doesn't have a name. There's strategies I do and I teach and I believe in, but yeah, we're not marketing every single fucking step of my life. So check it out. Hopefully that helps. GoodCompanyDiscord.com. New episode Wednesday, Friday. I'm Solid Mike, where you know find me. 3sb.co for all your apparel needs. Check it out. And 3rd Street Barbell, Sacramento, California. I'll see y'all then.
I am at Jim McD on all the social media. This show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% Facts is a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. And we'll talk to you next week.